What's going on YouTube? It's Neon Velocity coming back with another Diablo 2 Resurrected video. Today we're going to be talking about the recent survey results that came out from Chrome Power, or Crom Power, whichever pronunciation they would like to go by. This is actually a very great PDF document. I'm gonna have a link in the description below, but you guys can go ahead and download it, check it out. But honestly, this is a Diablo 2 Resurrected survey that was user made, and basically the idea was to capture data to see what the Diablo 2 or Diablo fan base would like to see in Diablo 2 Resurrected. I've made prior videos discussing about features that I would like to see. Some of them were great, some of them not so great. Also videos about what to be excited about in the new Diablo 2 Resurrected game, but this just takes everything and consolidates it into a one big giant data set. So this is really great work. Let's take a look through this. So just some general information about this survey. It was an online survey with the goal to find out what changes the Diablo community wants to see in Diablo 2 Resurrected and what changes they don't want to see. So again, community-based focus, not anything official from Blizzard. The survey was posted on Reddit Diablo and Diablo 2 Reddit and the Blizzard forums. 4,352 people participated in this survey. That's a fairly substantial survey size. So this is not a small survey by any means, and there's not any way that you can skew the data one way or the other. So 99% of the participants have played Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction in the past, so that makes it even more viable and something that you can say that there's at least some truth to what's being added to this. So when you have 99% of the people playing either game and over 4,000 participants, that's a fairly good data set. So the first section is going to be focusing on inventory changes, and the first question that was asked is, should the stash space be increased? The original size equals 8 by 6 squares. And you can see here at the blue section, it says yes, multiple 10 by 10 square stash tabs. So this would be kind of similar to what Diablo 3 is, where you have multiple tabs that you can click on. So they're saying to increase it and then also give multiple tabs, not just one. However, you can see the second leading candidate was yes, unlimited stash space, like plug Y or pluggy. That is a fairly large amount of people voting that way. I mean, that's almost over 75% of this. So that's not a bad question that storage space should be increased, or stash space. The second question was, should there be a separate inventory space for charms? And 58% of people said yes, charms should only work in the charm inventory, but yes, there should be a separate inventory system in particular for charms. 30% said no. So it's not exactly 50-50 by any means, but it's one way or the other. The overwhelming majority are in unison that charms should have their own separate inventory. Should inventory space be increased? And 44% of people said yes, but only in combination with a separate charm inventory, where charms only work in that charm inventory. So basically this is saying 44% plus 20% voting yes. So you have 64%, over half, almost 3/4 of the vote, saying yes, inventory space should be increased no matter what, and here's how we can go about it. For item changes, should runes and gems be stackable? This is again a feature in Diablo 3 where you basically have gems and multiple types of gems, where there could be up to about 99 or 100, I believe, in Diablo 3. And 78% of the people said yes, 16% no, and 6% said I'm not sure. If you're going for inventory space reduction, this is a great way to go about it. I do like the fact that gems and runes becoming stackable. It just makes it much easier to identify what you actually have, instead of trying to find different L runes with the same shape and everything like that. It just becomes very complicated in Diablo 2. Again, I think this is a very simple quality of life change that people will actually enjoy. I don't think the purists really would care about this. When I say the purists, I mean the people that played Diablo 2 day in and day out. I think they would be even fine with this. Question number 5 was, should quivers have unlimited ammo? And I'm actually on a mixed fence on this one. The answer was 50% voting yes, no being 38%, and 12% saying I'm not sure. In Diablo 3, quivers and ammo like that, there is none of that arrow stuff going on, so it is unlimited. I don't necessarily think it's a problem, but in Diablo 2, it would make sense to keep it where it's not unlimited. But I do think that if there were some changes to skill balancing, then maybe we could look into having unlimited arrows. In terms of balancing changes, that takes us right here to our 6th question. Should there be some minor spell balancing to make useless or bad spells more viable? And the overwhelming majority, 70%, said yes. 19% said no, meaning they want to keep Diablo 2 exactly the way that it is. But I do think that it would not hurt the game to allow people the ability to make something more unique than what we've already had for the meta for probably the last 14 or 15 years now. The 7th question was, should there be some minor mercenary balancing to make useless bad mercenaries more viable? Again, the overwhelming majority said yes with 72%, 19% saying no. Again, there's no harm in balancing mercenaries. They don't truly alter the game too much. I mean, I understand that there's auras and things of that nature that do help, but why not have a buff? Question 8 says, should there be some minor item and rune word balancing to make useless bad items and rune words more viable? Yes being 64%, no being 25%. And this is an issue that might be a little hard to answer, so I'm not going to go too in depth on what I think, but I would say that it would be helpful again to just see some minor tweaking, but I don't really want to alter what is already known as the latest and greatest. Perhaps if new rune words were to be added, then maybe we could see that balancing changes happening, but I personally voted no for this, so I don't really want it unless it makes sense. In terms of Battlenet changes, and this is a great section, and I'm actually very curious to see what is said here. Should the 6 months ladder season cycle be changed? And this is something that the developers have mentioned that most likely will change from 6 to about 3 months, and that's what's kind of being speculated. But look at this. This is actually very interesting here. Yes, meaning 34% saying yes, we should have the seasons be shorter. This would be more in line with other games out there like Call of Duty, things of that nature, so you're having more seasons much more quickly. 31% said no, 28% said I'm not sure, and actually 7% said make it longer. I am not an advocate of making a season longer. 6 months is a good sweet spot. I could see it being reduced down to 3, maybe 4 months. I do understand why people don't want it to be reduced, and that would be because the fact that they want to be able to gear up and get those ladder rune words that are only for ladder. So I could see this as a potential issue, but if Vicarious Visions and Blizzard are going to add some type of seasonal achievement or a seasonal bonus or something that you get for completing a season at a high level, I would like to actually see it reduced, to be quite honest. That way less participants have that ability to unlock it. It makes it more who's actually playing the game real time on a day in and day out basis. And I know that may not be easy for some people, but I would like to see that. Number 10, should the non-ladder rune words drop restrictions be removed? I don't see any harm in this if it's in single player, because that's what this is saying, and or for multiplayer when it's not in the most recent season, is why not keep it? So the answer should be yes across the board. 54% said yes, 24% said no, and 22% said they're not sure. I think honestly the 22% saying not sure just didn't understand the question or what that meant, because they probably haven't played in a while. But again, I'm gonna just be on the caution to say this should happen. Question 11, should the player/players X command to increase XP and drops also be available on Battlenet? 44% said yes, 38% said no, 18% said I'm not sure. This is a very good question, and I think the overwhelming majority would vote yes if they maybe, one, understood the question, or two, understood why it would benefit others. So in group play, obviously, if you have more people playing, you get better drop rates, you also get better experience rates. But when you play solo, it's a much more harder grind. So if you're like a solo self-found player, I could see you saying, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do it traditional, but I would like to see this included. It's something that you can do offline anyways. So I don't see why we can't include this if you're playing solo. So if you boot up a private match by yourself, for example, I don't understand why you couldn't do this. But again, I understand that the purist aspect of it would not want that change. In terms of interface and tooltip changes, the 12th question says, should there be an optional modernized spell hotkey system? And 62% said yes, 26% said no, 12% said not sure. Anything that makes life easier in the game should be implemented. It is a 20-year-old game now. I don't see any harm in this. I think a lot of the purists and a lot of the Diablo 2 fans obviously see that as well, which is why there was 62% of people saying yes. Should there be an in-game rune word and Heroic Cube encyclopedia? And the overwhelming majority said yes, 71%, with 20% saying no. I don't understand why anybody would vote no for this. I mean, it is 2021, so I understand that most people probably have like a printed out document from 2005 when rune words were going bonkers and everything like that. But honestly, it would be great to have this in the game for newer players alike, especially those playing on consoles. I understand that this is something that you could easily go up and look online. But however, I would personally like to see this, and I think it is a good quality of life feature, honestly, because there are a lot of rune words in the game, some viable, some not. The 14th question, and this is going to be I'm just quick looking at this, and this is going to be a very interesting one, is should there be an optional loot filter to make certain item drops, aka runes, more and easier visible? So what this is saying is, should you have the ability to easily find items and make them easier to find, so when they drop, like runes on the ground, so you're saying, okay, I only want to see these when they drop, that's it. And 70% said yes, 23% said no, 7% said I'm not sure. Having an optional loot filter, just saying, hey, this is what I want to see, a nice quality of life change. It is a little bit more on the modern side, so I would like to see it as well. I voted yes for this. The 15th question is, should there be a kill tracker where you see how often you killed boss X, for example, and get the stats of the drops? So this is kind of like a World of Warcraft add-on mod, and 52% people said yes, 30% said no, and 18% said I'm not sure. So to understand this a little bit better, let's say you kill Andy in Nightmare or Hell difficulty 100 times over. It's going to show you that you killed Andy 100 times, and then it's going to say, okay, well, of that 100 kills, here's the percentage of what item drops. So let's say you killed Andy 100 times and an SOJ dropped 50%, then you would know that half the time that you killed Andy, you're getting a Stone of Jordan. That is what this is for. And I think this is actually really nice to see, because it kind of goes into loot tables and kind of gives you an idea of what items you can find from certain bosses. I can also understand that the people saying no wouldn't want this, because of the fact that it would say, oh, I know where to go, you don't know where to go. So that makes like trading and everything a little bit more viable and a little bit more of a way to have an economy. But I would personally like to see it, just because I'm a stats nerd, which is why we're obviously covering this PowerPoint. The 16th question was, should there be an option to toggle showing ground loot, so you don't have to keep pressing Alt, for example, when you're playing on PC every time you want to show the loot? And this is a great thing to add. It is in Diablo 3. So the answer is 76% of people wanted yes, 17% wanted no, 7% said I'm not sure. So when there's a lot of item drops, it can get probably pretty busy on the screen. I can understand that. I would like to see it if you have the ability to kind of show only what you want to show on the ground, like that optional loot filter that was discussed earlier. Question 17 says, should there be an optional additional tooltip on items that shows the possible minimum and maximum rolls of the stats? Example, nail ring plus 21% magic find, and then in parentheses it has the ability to roll 15 to 30% of magic find. 77% said yes, 16% said no, 7% said I'm not sure. This is already in Diablo 3. It is nice to see this, because honestly, if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know if it's great or not, or if you got a good one or a bad one, it allows you to easily identify if you have a perfect nail ring, for example, or a very bad one. I would like to see this. It's a nice little tidbit to have. Question 18, right out of the gate, says, should they add at some point more in-game content like the Pandemonium event? 69% of people said yes, 17% said no, or I'm not sure, and no was 14%. So it's kind of close there with I'm not sure and no, but 69% of the people saying yes, meaning they would like to see more in-game content in the future after the game releases. And really, with the game coming out as an anniversary based game and a way to please the fans, I don't see a way that they don't add more in-game content, such as the scrapped expansion content that was never came out, or something of the lines to make the in-game content not as grindy, but maybe a little bit more fun as well. The 19th question says, should they add at some point new items, rune words, or Haragic cube recipes? And this goes back to some of the questions that were asked earlier on. 58% said yes, no was 23%, and I'm not sure was 19%. It would be nice to have these items, but I think I would like to see them for more end-game content than early game content. And the 20th question, should there be an optional personal loot option in multiplayer? Example, everyone gets their own loot, so other people can't steal it. This is in Diablo 3. 39% of people said no, that they don't want this option. 36% said yes. 13% said yes, but only if there is a trade-off, e.g. less drops or negative 100% magic find if active. And then 12% saying not sure. This is a very high topic. I mentioned this in one of my videos and I got shredded to belief, but there's actually a ton of people that hate the fact that once an item drops, anyone can get it and whoever clicks it the fastest gets it. On PC, this can be problematic with tools like Picket and things of that nature. People have customized that stuff to where they can easily click an item and get it in their inventory and do whatever they want with it before you even have a chance. I personally would like to see this option if it is something that you can enable in private matches only, whereas if you're going into a public Blizzard lobby, then everything would become not or everything would become whatever people can have. So this is a very delicate question. Blizzard's going to have to navigate this really well, but I don't believe this feature is going to get added to the game. 21, should there be additional or easier ways to respec? Example, 1 free respec every ladder reset. No saying 44%, 43% saying yes, and 13% saying no, or I'm not sure. Question 21 says, should there be an additional easier way to respec? Example, 1 free respec every ladder reset. No leading the charge with 44%, yes with 43%, so it's very close, and 13% saying I'm not sure. I do think that if the game doesn't receive any quality of life changes, then there should be no way that this should be added. But if there's going to be additional quality of life changes and there are going to be newer rune words and things of that nature added to the game, it would probably be helpful to have an additional way for this to happen in case you get something and you decide to change it up, but it's actually not that great. Kind of like a testing phase, right? There are multiple ways that you can still respec currently, but if you're going to make it where you get 1 free one, I can see that being an incentive for everyone to play a ladder season. 22, this is a very universal question, and should you be able to open the Cal level after killing the Cal King? So if you haven't played Diablo 2 in a while, or if you remember this, Cals were king and still are king in some aspects, but basically what would happen is if you were to make the Cal level in your game and then you go kill the Cal level or kill the Cal King, or someone was to kill the Cal King without your knowledge, you can no longer make that Cal level on that particular difficulty. This is a universal 82% saying yes. I think this is going to be something that will be implemented to the game. It is a nice quality of life change because a lot of people like to get Cal levels to go find white items or particular items, so I would like to see this. Should the Nilithak portal stay open after completing the quest and getting the waypoint? 65% said yes, 22% said I'm not sure, and 13% said no. I personally voted yes. Go ahead and keep the portal open at all times. And then question 24 doesn't actually have a chart, but it's actually kind of worth mentioning is, are there any additional changes that you would like to see that were not mentioned in this survey? The creator of this survey went ahead and mentioned many people suggested a lot of additional changes. Some of them are really interesting. Unfortunately, they did not have the time to read and especially summarize them, meaning he did not expect so many people to participate in this survey. If you want to read the suggested changes, he created a PDF file and put them all in there. Note, he did not filter any of the suggested changes, he just copy and pasted them. The summary of the TLDR of this whole video and of this survey was, even though there are a lot of very controversial options and opinions of a few changes, example, optional personal loot, easier way to respec, the majority of the Diablo 2 fans want to see the most in the survey mentioned changes. So anything that was really questioned, they would like to see them. Even pretty impactful changes like balancing spells and adding new content are very welcome by most fans. I would agree, this is a very great survey and hard-hitting question survey, and I do think that Blizzard should take a really good look at this and hear them out and to understand what the fans want and not mess us up. Diablo 2 is one of the best games ever made. That's without a question. In terms of PC, I definitely think that they have a great opportunity to make a lot of fans happy, but if they go about it wrong, like things that have happened in Warcraft 3, they can really lose a lot of the fan base as we move into the launch of the years of Diablo with Diablo Immortal, Diablo 2 Resurrected, and soon to be Diablo 4 as well in a couple years. So what do you guys think of all the changes? What were your votes? What do you want to see in Diablo 2 Resurrected? Let me know in the comments below. If you're new here, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and bell notifications, and I'll see you in a future video.